Hi there, and welcome to another edition of Premier Investments in Wealth Management Financial Program. My name is Doug Wagner. I'm your host, and before I introduce you to the two gentlemen at the table here with me today, I want to ask you if you're ready for retirement. A lot of people, you may not know whether you're ready for retirement, but there's a very easy way to find out. Go to Premier Investments in Wealth Management's website at premieriwm.com. Click Get Started. You'll answer a few questions. They'll provide for you a one-page Premier Vision document. What that will do for you is help you get a better understanding of whether you're ready for retirement or whether you're ready to help fund your children's education in the future or whatever financial purchase you want to make in the future. That may be a big one or maybe a small one. That's part of the neat thing about the Premier Investments in Wealth Management program, that they work with you to encompass your entire financial life, not just your retirement, but all the stuff going to that and through that as well. premieriwm.com. Click Get Started, and then you'll get a free, no-obligation consultation. They will hand you that Premier Vision document as well. You can go to the website, or you can actually call to make an appointment right now if you'd like to. 800-383-6590. That's 800-383-6590. Premier Investments in Wealth Management, named to Forbes 2025 Best in State Wealth Management Teams. To my right, he's a wealth advisor with over 30 years of experience in the investment industry. Jonas Everett.
Hi, Doug.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
How you been?
Good.
Good. Awesome.
We got the band back together today.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It just feels like it's been a long time. It just feels like a long time. I could do these every day.
You know, what I've noticed about financial planning is towards the end of the year, people kind of ramp up their financial and their planning thoughts.
Yeah.
And families ramp up their financial thoughts as well. It must be because we're going to have get-togethers like Thanksgiving and Christmas. But
Yeah.
I am so busy towards the end of the year because people are thinking about this stuff, and it's great.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. And if you're thinking about it, you're watching this program. This is something maybe you stumbled onto, but maybe you said this is required watching or listening or viewing. He's president of Premier Investments in Wealth Management, sitting over to Jonas's right. He's a wealth advisor as well, accredited investment fiduciary, or AIF, a certified exit planning advisor, or a CEPA. Over 22 years of experience in the investment industry. But the most important thing is he's known as the Big Kahuna, Roger Abel.
Thanks, Doug. I missed that introduction. I've been gone here for a little while. I've been out sitting in trees and being a ninja of the woods, I guess.
You know, I could do that but I'd send that out there in the middle of the woods with you, but it'd probably scare all the deer away because
I actually don't think you could do it.
No? Oh, because you don't have cell service out there.
No.
Oh.
But I sit in that stand from sun up to sundown and I don't leave.
Okay.
Did that for about 8 days.
Wow.
I had a lot of time in the tree.
That's a lot of time for thought.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. We're going to take advantage of that here because I'm sure you have thought a lot about some of the questions that we have here. We get listener questions. We're going through them. This one for you, Roger. John asks, I am employed full-time, have a 401k. My wife's self-employed hairstylist. She doesn't have a workplace retirement plan. We would like to retire early, so we've been prioritizing savings. We're now maxing out my 401k, still have a little extra we would like to save each month. We've discussed starting some sort of an individual retirement plan for my wife or investing it in a taxable brokerage account for more flexibility. What are your thoughts, Roger?
Yes. No, John, it's absolutely a great spot to be. The fact that you're maxing out your retirement plan, you have a little extra, you're on the right track. I think the few things I would start with is, one, let's hit our goals and priorities. What are those?
Okay.
I think that when you set out to invest money, just investing more without a purpose isn't necessarily that meaningful. And you might already be on track for retirement. So I think, one, let's figure out, are you on track?
Okay.
Two, if you are on track, how much do we need to be setting aside to be on track if we're not there? And a lot of times the timeline dictates that. I think John mentioned they want to retire early, so they might have to save more. Options for self-employed people. I think that's really what John's looking for. How do we do this in the best, most efficient manner possible? And one of the most popular options is just a solo 401k. And to really break it down into its simplest form for the listeners, it's just like John's 401k at work.
Mm-hmm.
They're just providing all the benefits for themselves, meaning there's still a employee contribution and an employer match.
Okay.
His wife is the employer.
Mm-hmm.
So it works just like a 401k. You can do Roth option in it. You can do the pre-tax option. It's identical for all intents and purposes. There is more upkeep to it. If you have more than $250,000 in that account, then you have to file an IRS Form 5500. That would be the downside because you likely would need to have what's called a third-party administrator involved.
Okay.
Cost you probably around $1,000 a year to do that. So that's option one.
Okay.
Is set up a 401k just like John has at his employer,
Right.
providing your own benefits. Option two would be a SEP IRA, which stands for self-employed.
Thank you.
IRA. And it's easier to set up. Contributions are tax deductible, but here's the cons. It's employer-only contributions, and there's less flexibility to make Roth contributions and loans.
Okay.
I didn't mention in the 401k that you set up for yourself, there is an option for loans, and some business owners like to have the ability to say, hey, there's an extra level of liquidity
Right.
to this account. So I think the way to end this is, yeah, congrats. Set up a solo or a SEP IRA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think unless you are maxing out one of those accounts, it makes sense to do a traditional brokerage account at this point.
Right.
You might as well get all the tax benefits that you're legally entitled to do. I think John's on the right track.
Yeah. Maybe the most important thing is to sit down and put together a financial plan, Roger.
That's what I was going to say from an advice standpoint, Roger. I think you've had a solo 401k for as long as I've known you, for 20 years. And I recently received a phone call from a self-employed customer, and she didn't know what to do. And we went through the advice business. And I think that there's something to be said about not having to do this stuff yourself. How hard was it to set up your first solo 401k when you did it?
I wouldn't have wanted to do it if I wasn't in this business.
I teach you up with a little golf ball there.
But in general, it's not hard to do. But I think there's a level of compliance that may come with it. But the reason I did it, I can tell you personally, I did it because when I started, just like most small business owners, I wanted to save money. But I still wanted that like flexibility of, hey, if I really need it, I can go grab some of it in the form of a loan, which fortunately I never had to use. But it was always kind of my little backstop to say, hey, it's okay to go max this thing out and put a bunch of money in here because I still am building a reserve on the sideline.
And Roger's been so disciplined over the years. He approached me and said, you have to do one of these solo 401ks. But I had trouble, Roger, with cutting the check and physically writing the check as a small business owner because I knew that it was coming from working capital, and I knew I might need that money in emergency funds instead of retirement. So I was never able to cut the check in the 401k. That's another kind of a con of a solo 401k. You have to cut that physical check.
Well, that's behavior, right? So I'm most successful in that because I pay myself a salary every 2 weeks. I don't have to cut the check. It comes right off the top. It goes back to the behavior we talk about with makes people successful investors. Right. I don't even know it's my money. It's gone before it gets there.
This is really neat because you get an inside look at what the professionals are doing, and they apply this same sort of focus to you and your retirement plans. It's the right mix of accounts, and it depends on what your overall plan is, your goals, your timeline, your tax picture. The way that you can do this is the Premier Vision strategy, that one-page Premier Vision document. Get started on that by going to premieriwm.com and click Get Started. Answer the questions. That one-page Premier Vision document will be the opening, the entree to that first meeting that you have. Free, no obligation consultation, and at the end of the meeting, they will hand off that document to you as well. So you can get started working with Premier Investments and Wealth Management, named to Forbes 2025 Best in State Wealth Management Teams. Roger, coming back to you for Q2 here. Priya has a question for you. Can you explain backdoor Roth IRAs? I've heard it discussed in several places, but I don't quite understand how it works.
Sounds complicated.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay.
First thing, we get it a lot. And basically a backdoor Roth IRA is simply a strategy. It's not a special account. It allows high income earners, so those who make too much, to contribute to a Roth IRA directly, a way to still get the money in indirectly. So how do you figure out if this is for you? First off, you have to be phased out of Roth contributions for this to make sense. So what that is, Roth IRAs all have income limits. It's modified adjusted gross income. If you're single and make more than $165,000, or married making more than $246,000, you're not eligible to contribute directly to a Roth IRA.
Okay.
This is where the strategy comes in, because everybody in America that has earned income is eligible to contribute to an IRA. Whether it's deductible or non-deductible is up to your income. In this situation, Priya would make a contribution to an IRA. They make more than $246,000, so it's non-deductible. They would instantly convert it to a Roth IRA.
Okay.
That is the simplest way to explain the backdoor Roth. You make an IRA contribution because you make too much money, you convert it to a Roth IRA. You just did the backdoor Roth IRA.
And in a nutshell, we're just doing that to create a tax shelter.
It's
correct?
tax-free growth forever. You already pay tax on the money. So why not get your $7,000 or $8,000, independent upon your age, into a tax-free space?
So this is something where they put that money in and there's no button to push. It goes in and it just converts on its own, or is that something where a financial professional, wealth advisor have to work with?
You wouldn't have to be, I mean, you could do it on your own if you wanted to. There are some rules to adhere by, which we'll talk about.
But why would you when you can see these folks?
Yeah, so you'd open up an IRA account, make the contribution, sign a conversion document, converting it to a Roth, and it's done.
That's the button press.
Press the button.
Okay.
So pros of this approach: tax-free space. So you're going to the only known tax code in America, which is 0. We don't know what taxes will be in the future. Also, there's no mandatory distributions on a Roth. This is why people do it. The third thing, and this is one that we don't probably talk about a lot, but for many high income earners, they likely won't spend everything that they save.
Yeah.
And this becomes a way to create a legacy or pass assets in a very tax efficient manner to the next generation. So those are the pros. There's always cons with everything that we do.
That was one of the reasons I received a phone call, guys, from one of my customers. She was very concerned about the Secure Point 2.0 Act provision that said the beneficiaries need to actually spend all their inherited retirement accounts within 10 years.
Yeah.
So she's exploring this Roth conversion option just because she doesn't want her kids actually make a lot more than she does. And bless her heart, she's very concerned about her kids having to spend what is and has been a fantastic job saving money in retirement accounts. And this is so prevalent because 90% of American millionaires, is it in retirement accounts or non-retirement accounts, Roger?
Well, generally, individuals' largest asset from a retirement standpoint is in their IRA or 401k.
Yeah, thanks to the 401k. It was created in 1978. The baby boomers kind of jumped on there. They started to contribute 10%. A lot of times they were getting like a 6 and a 7% match from their employer when they started. And lo and behold, 30 and 40 years later, there is tens of thousands, hundreds. I think there's over 100,000 401k millionaires in America right now.
Wow. Yeah, it's one thing that's really interesting is, one of the places, at least the statistic that I do recall is one of the greatest concentration of millionaires in the United States is actually in Iowa City, Iowa.
Really?
because of TIAA CREF.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. There's so many different things that go on with your retirement. It can get complicated. That's why you need professionals to help you. And at Premier Investments in Wealth Management at premieriwm.com, just go there. They've got a number of different resources online for you. They have the Investor's Guide, Rothification, and Your Retirement that can help explain a little bit about how Roth IRAs work, Roth 401ks, conversion strategies, so you can build tax-efficient income for your future. Just go to premieriwm.com and download the Rothification in Your Retirement piece of literature over there. So much really cool stuff. Connections over there to the different podcasts and the different shows. I know that Elias and Roger, you do the Behind the Wealth series of podcasts as well that people can get, and the videos that go out on the YouTube and other channels. So a lot of things at that premieriwm.com address online, or you can call today for your appointment at 800-383-6590. That's 800-383-6590. Make your appointment today with Premier Investments in Wealth Management, named to Forbes 2025 Best in State Wealth Management Team. Jonas, let's get to you with the next question here from Brianna. She says, I've got about $40,000 left in student loans. I got lucky with lower interest rate, around 3.4%. I'm starting a new job. I'll be making more money. Does it make more sense to take the pay raise and supercharge paying off my loans, or keep paying the minimum and put that extra money into my 401k?
Great question, Brianna. It really depends on, like with every financial decision, what your financial goals are. Congratulations on the new job and making more money. You're creating some headways by making more money and having a 401k available, that you're really making some headways for financial independence right now. A couple of things to look at. I think that a lot of it depends on your age and when you're going to retire. But ultimately, if you have a mathematical decision, if you have a loan at a low interest rate at 3.4%, you have to decide ultimately if you're going to potentially make more money in a 401k, Doug.
Yeah.
If you have a longer time horizon, are you going to assume that you're going to make more than 3.4% in a 401k, especially if the new employer has matching contribution?
Mm-hmm.
That's 100% rate of return.
Right.
Is a matching contribution. So ultimately, it goes back to your financial goals. A lot of people, it's an emotional decision.
Mm-hmm.
I call this a pillow payment. It's kind of a pillow payment. They want this student loan. They want to be out of debt as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So they want the student loan gone. But Brianna, I wouldn't be in a huge hurry now that you're making more money and you have a 401k available. If you have the time horizon, I would like to see you put less towards the student loan payment, because of that it's at a low interest rate, 3.4%,
Mm-hmm.
and more towards your 401k at this point, because I think potentially in the long run, just from my past experience and the research I've done with the baby boomers, they started at 10%.
Oh, yeah.
Back in the 70s, and they had no research. The 401k was new. They had no research what a 401k was.
Yeah.
And ultimately, there's, like I said, over 100,000 401k millionaires now. So that's what I would do. But it really depends on your financial goals.
And that's part of it, is making sure that Brianna has a financial plan too, because she's got a lot of the pieces there. I mean, she obviously knows well what's going on, but putting everything together into a financial plan to make sure that she's got goals and she can keep making these correct decisions as she moves forward and asking the right people.
This is a great example of how you utilize the plan, not for anything other than just making a good financial decision.
Yeah.
Because if she sits down, puts together a financial plan, and finds out her savings rate needs to be $500 higher than what it is, well, then she answered her question as to what she should do. She should save more for retirement. If she's already got the right savings rate, then maybe that's where she accelerates the payment. So that's why you have the financial plan, to help you make decisions that you typically would just make on gut instinct.
Mm-hmm.
And your gut's not always wrong. A lot of times your gut instinct's pretty good. But I think the financial plan just helps you quantify it a little bit.
Yeah. Get a true vision of what's going on. And that's the most important thing, is it having a vision, and this financial plan that really is what is incorporated in the Premier Vision strategy. Go to premieriwm.com to find out more, because the whole thing is you want your income, you want your expenditures, you want your savings for retirement and investments to all work in the same mesh, all together moving in the same direction. You want something that's going to be unified, that you can pull parts out of and take a look at and examine. But to me, one of the most important things is, Brianna, you have a financial professional that is willing and ready to work with you at Premier Investments and Wealth Management, premieriwm.com. Let's go to question 4 here real quick. I've been learning more about personal finance lately. I've realized there's a lot to learn, but not all of it applies to everyone. If you could only give someone 3 lessons on personal finance, what 3 things do you think everyone should know that really helps move the needle in building wealth? Roger, I'm going to go to you for your 3 first.
You don't have to do the triple Lindy off the high dive. You don't have to do the reverse flea flicker. And you don't have to run a fancy offense. No, I'm totally joking. But people think it's that complicated.
Yeah.
And I always got this from Jonas. When it's first and goal, you just punch it in. You don't become the Seahawks who have Marshawn Lynch and decide to pass it and lose the Super Bowl, and they have Marshawn Lynch as first and goal. With that said, in all reality, I thought a lot about this. And I think one of the biggest things about building wealth and moving the needle is really about simplicity. So I thought about what's the simplest way to start? Because most people, step 1 is getting started. Jonas talked about the 401k. Step 1 would be opening the account. So I would say the number 1 piece of advice, get started. 2, saved often, meaning automate this. I talked about my experience with my solo 401k.
Right.
It's automated. I don't have to think about it. I've automated all my investments to a weekly basis. Every week, same amount comes out. Guess what? About every 6 months, I increase it a little bit.
Yeah.
So that's number 3, constantly increase what you're saving. If you get started, you make it automatic and you increase your contributions over time, more than likely it will work out. And I think what's interesting about that advice, someone was thinking I was going to give them the triple Lindy.
Yeah.
None of that has to do with any investment whatsoever. That is just the process of doing this.
There wasn't a stock, a hot stock?
No stock, no investment pick, nothing.
You're
just
kidding me.
Think about this.
With all the AI opportunity out there?
Think about this though, Jonas. If someone just did that and put it in a savings account, so arguably the worst long-term investment out there, they'd still be in pretty good shape. They would be.
Absolutely.
I mean, would they be as successful as they could be? No, but they would save up a pile of money. If they got started, they automated it, and they constantly increased their contributions.
It's so interesting because, you talked about 1978, the dawn of the 401k, and prior to that, it was all pensions. And I remember my dad's retirement. It was all, that whole thing's pensions. There's so many people who were in that. It's funny because you got this 401k that's out there, and there are billions of dollars left on the table by people who don't do that and take advantage of the max that they could get out of a 401k match.
The company match, my brother works at a factory, and I talked to him on the golf course, and he said probably 50% of the new hirees do not contribute to the 401k because they want their money. They're skeptical about it.
Wow.
And I tell my brother, Jason, just let them know the 401k has been around for 50 years.
Yeah.
Hey, Jonas.
Twice their age.
You know what my question is? How many are contributing but don't know because of automatic enrollment now?
Right.
Yeah.
Because now they
Absolutely.
actually have to opt
Beautiful.
out.
Right.
They
Yeah.
might not even know they're contributing
Yeah.
because they didn't opt out.
That's beautiful. That's a great, great thing.
Jonas, your top 3 pieces of advice for Clint here.
First off, Clint, the best time to plant a tree is yesterday. So like Roger said, get started right away. Second thing, and probably the biggest, is don't try to keep up with the Joneses when it comes to personal finances. Once you're moving through your financial journey, you're always going to have neighbors that have the new SUVs and the new tile and the new kitchen and go to Disney 3 or 4 times a year. You're not going to be able to keep up with those people. I mean, you could try, but you're probably not going to have a very good financial performance later on in life. pick something that you like to do. Figure out what type of a financial person you like to spend money on. I talked to a friend that had a business that actually it was a real estate business, and because of the 2008 real estate crisis, it actually had a little bit of trouble and went out of business for a while. And I said, "How do you feel right now?" And he's like, "I'm not as wealthy, but I figured out that my flexible schedule now, I'm able to hunt, I'm able to fish more than I was before, and I'm not as worried about money." So don't try to keep up with the Joneses. And really the third thing, try to beat a dead horse here, is save before you spend, because I think ultimately people forget, like Roger said, about these matching contributions, and you have to opt out to get in a 401k. Once you get into that 401k and you assign a contribution rate of at least 10%, you're going to forget about that within 3 months. And you could have looked back and said, I may have only saved 3%, but you're saving 10%. And then all of a sudden 5 or 10 years go by so quick. So,
it does make sense. Pay yourself first. In other words, it's a really good idea. The whole thing comes down to getting a financial plan and making sure that you have somebody that can work with you. You could do it on your own if you have the time, you have the talent, you've got the desire. But for so many people, you can have the desire and you can have the talent, but the time's just not there. That's why wealth advisors like the ones at Premier Investments in Wealth Management are so critical to you, because they can help you create the financial plan. Now, it's your financial plan, not theirs. It's not cookie cutter. This is just like your thumbprint, just like your individual finger or thumbprint. So go over to premieriwm.com, click Get Started, answer a few questions. They'll provide for you a one-page Premier Vision document and a free consultation, whether it's in person, over the phone, or over video conference, whatever. They will get in touch with you and they'll hand that document off to you or give it to you at the back end of it. I'm a customer here at Premier Investments in Wealth Management, and it's one of the things that I know that I've seen the difference it can make for people, because it gives you that initial roadmap. It gets you started. That's what they were talking about. PremierIWM.com is the website, and you can also call to make an appointment, 800-383-6590. You can make an appointment online at PremierIWM.com. Premier Investments in Wealth Management. Forbes 2025 Best in State Wealth Management Teams. They were named to that list. Part of the reason is the two gentlemen that I'm sitting here with today, Roger Abel and Jonas Everett. The next question goes to you, Jonas.
It's mostly Jonas.
What's that? What?
Mostly Jonas.
Mostly Jonas.
Mostly Jonas.
He gets the next question. Mike says, my wife and I recently retired. We put together our own spending plan for our Social Security and 401k withdrawals. I've heard you mention that you should review your plan each year, but for those of us who do it ourselves, can you explain what we need to be looking at specifically?
Great job, Mike, creating your own spending and a retirement plan and even income plan, it sounds like. One of the things that we try to do, Roger, we have a second set of eyes when we look at somebody's existing retirement plan. And what I love about what you said a long time ago is we never criticize somebody's existing plan. We just try to complement what they're doing. Just because we do this 8 hours a day, and we're nerds. We really like this stuff. So one of the things, Mike, that you can look at specifically is income sustainability. How much are you taking out for a withdrawal rate? Sounds like you already took your Social Security payments. How much are you going to be able to take out? Are you taking out enough? Can you take out more? And ultimately, look at what your retirement lifestyle is like. I wrote a book called Upside Down Retirement. People need to focus on what their retirement lifestyle is like. You may not be taking out enough, and you may want to take out more to start enjoying some of these initial years in retirement when you have your health. And a couple of the big three, if you look at specific financial planning in retirement, tax efficiency. Are you taking the money out of the right accounts? We get calls all the time. Hey, I need money for a trip. I need money to buy my granddaughter a car. Which account do I take it out of? We call them right back, and we tell the customers that. Investment alignment. Ultimately, you need to figure out in retirement, one of the things that we're experiencing is people are bringing their portfolio in. They don't realize how much risk they're taking because we've been in a bull market the last 5 years. So we actually have the software to show them, kind of like a cholesterol check or a blood pressure check, Doug.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people are blown away by that. They're like, oh my gosh, I haven't changed anything. It's doing fantastic, but I'm taking this much risk. And now I'm not contributing in my 401k. And so we explore some of the other options to try to maybe safen some things up, and try to maybe get prepared for the next downturn. That's investment alignment. And ultimately your lifestyle goals, you need to review ultimately what you're going to do for that, back to that income again. Mm-hmm. You're in your go-go years during the first part of retirement. Maybe you do want to take some more out, and maybe you do want to back things off when you're in your 70s or when you're in your 80s. And that's what a lifestyle goal review is, Doug.
You know, and Roger, is something that's interesting that I've heard you talk about before is this idea of you talk to people when they start looking at that. You know, you're maybe in your 30s or 40s and you're investing for your retirement. You haven't said, okay, I'm ready. When you start getting to that point and you say, it's time to start really looking at retirement, you say, what does your first year of retirement look like? What are you doing? How are you spending money? Because that has a lot to do with what happens at that point.
It has everything to do with it. It has everything to do with setting up the distribution plan. It has everything to do with accomplishing your goals and priorities and the things that you want to do all the way through retirement. It has everything to do with how much cash you need to have available.
Yeah.
Envisioning retirement is probably the most undervalued part of it. Mm-hmm. People just say, well, I want $5,000 a month. Well, but if you need $8,000 a month for your first 6 years, you're giving yourself this very non-accurate portrayal of what's going to happen.
Significantly not accurate.
But on the flip side too, there are the people that say, hey, I need $12,000 a month to live.
And
because what they're doing is they're counting in, hey, I plan on spending $25,000 on vacations. And this is my lifestyle, and I'm going to do that forever.
Right.
No, you're not. You're going to do it for a number of years, and then you're going to slow down. And in the most recent guide, I think it's the 10 steps to take 10 years before retirement. It talks right about this, how to look at your expenses in terms of needs. What do you need to live on for the next 30 years? So that's not the trip to Jamaica. That's like, what do you really need?
Right.
What are all the things you want to accomplish in retirement? What do you want to do? And for how long? And then if we accomplish all of those things, what do you wish you could do that maybe you don't think you could?
Right.
And that's how you get this really great financial plan, really great picture of what it's going to look like. But that requires effort, thought, and guidance. No one's just going to go figure it out on their own. You're going to have a financial advisor who's going to guide you through this and bring these things up and talk about it. Not said for years, it was just as easy as putting in your numbers into a computer and spit numbers out, and that's your financial plan. I'd be the first one to have the program start printing greenbacks all day long. It's not that easy. You have to have someone guide you through the process, interpret the numbers, help you put the strategy together. Yeah.
It helps, Mike, and good job again, like these guys said, and congratulations to you, but it really does help because they're more than just a backstop for you at Premier Investments and Wealth Management. They are an integral part of the team. I mean, if you want to build a championship level or top level team, you have to have the right coach, not just the right players. And that's really what they do. That's why people turn to financial professionals like the wealth advisors at Premier Investments and Wealth Management for guidance into and through retirement as well. Schedule an appointment online at premieriwm.com, or you can call to make your appointment today at 800-383-6590. That's 800-383-6590. Get in touch with Premier Investments and Wealth Management. They were named to Forbes 2025 Best in State Wealth Management Teams. And it's one of those things where you got to have the right team, and you know what? They want to have you as part of their team as well, because it really becomes a very good symbiotic relationship in this case. Roger, Dan's got a question for you. It's a pretty lengthy one, so take some notes here. My wife recently passed away. I'm sorry to hear that, Dan. Dan says, I'm 44. We have an 11-year-old daughter. My wife made around $80K a year. I make $65K. Losing her paycheck, I can't afford the same lifestyle we live, specifically the mortgage, vehicle payments, and the loan on a new RV we bought. My daughter and I love to camp together. I will be getting around $600,000 from life insurance policies for my wife. I want to make the best decision for myself and my daughter, but I also don't want to disrupt her life any further by moving or stopping our RV camping trips. Should I use the life insurance to pay off all the debts in a lump sum and lower monthly cash flow needs, or invest it in a way that I can generate extra income to supplement our needs?
Pretty tough question.
Pretty tough beginning to the whole thing.
Yeah. So sorry for your loss, Dan. That's probably one of the hardest and most important questions any surviving spouse actually will face. It really depends on your needs and goals, but whether you've lost a loved one, a spouse at 44 or 65 or 80, whatever the age, one of the first things I talk to people about is just take a deep breath. You don't have to make any decisions today. Mm-hmm. Sit back and digest everything and just slow down on the big financial moves. Okay? That's the first thing. You're dealing with this emotional toll of losing a loved one. But then also, what do we do financially because we lost a paycheck? So for the time being, I would just sit back. If you need to supplement with some of the life insurance money, do that. The good news is the life insurance is tax-free, so you're not going to owe any tax on that life insurance, okay? After we've taken a break, and typically when somebody passes away, I tell them take 90 days, take 6 months. See how it happens. We had an individual client in this office whose husband passed away, a really similar situation to this. She was the breadwinner, not him, so they didn't need the money. Came to us, said, what do we do? We said, don't do anything for 6 months. Figure out what it looks like. Go take your time off of work. She was the breadwinner. Mm-hmm. She didn't want to work for a while. I said, take it off. Go spend the summer with your son. That's what she did. Brought clarity to her situation versus making a rash decision. Step 2, you definitely need to revisit your financial plan. Mm-hmm. You need to come back to it and figure out how much do I need to hit my retirement goals, but at the same time, how much of this cash do I need to be able to live on a monthly basis? I think Dan told us he wouldn't be able to afford the house payment, the RV payment, and the car payments. Mm-hmm. So we got to figure out what it's going to take to do that, and then that comes back to having a plan. And when you inherently put together a plan, expenses are part of it. So we really want to take a good hard look at what expenses could potentially go away. Mm-hmm. So if we had 2 cars, great, let's get down to 1. We don't need 2 car payments. You know, paying off the debt does a couple of things. Reduces outflow, but also reduces the stress of the situation too.
Yeah.
Not everything has to be financial in nature. Some things can just be because it makes us feel better. Mm-hmm. And if you're overwhelmed by the debt and you just want to pay it off, there's no shame in that. There's really not. And I understand wanting to be able to keep up the normal lifestyle for your daughter, which is not a financial decision.
No.
So I think that's how I would approach. This is a hard question, but step 1, take a deep breath. Mm-hmm. Live off that $600,000 for 3 to 6 months before you decide what you're going to do. The other thing that'll do, it'll help all the expenses really come into shape. What's it look like going from 3 people in a household to 2?
Yeah.
It will change. Mm-hmm. You'll likely spend less. Anytime you remove one person from an equation, you spend less. There's downsides to it as well. And sometimes just a balanced strategy is best. It might be, hey, we're going to pay off the car and the RV, get that knocked out, and we're going to invest the rest.
What stands out is, guys, that sooner or later, everybody has to do a financial plan.
Yeah.
That's what kind of stands out. for this question. And I think that Roger's right. If you have a balanced approach, if you have some debt, maybe you carve out some of that lump sum and you do pay off 2 of the items. Ultimately, you're going to have a financial plan. Your wife did a great job buying this insurance to make sure that you and your daughter could be financially independent. Use that money to replace her income. So you need to think about that. This insurance was there to replace your deceased wife's income.
Right. Real quick, talk to me about that, because there are a lot of people, I mean, this is something we really don't mention a lot of, is the role life insurance may play in your financial plan as well.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we look at, life insurance is a foundation. And your wife did a great job building that foundation because she understood that she was the breadwinner in the family, and she wanted to replace some of that future income if she walked out of life. And that's what happened here. But life insurance is really the foundation. It's a replacement for future income. So you need to look at how you're going to replace that income with some of the $600,000 as well.
Well, there's roughly 8 years of income replacement there.
Right.
I mean, there is. So that's a really good point. And honestly, Dan, your wife should be commended, or you should be too, on the foresight to actually go do this, because this is a step a lot of people skip.
Yeah.
I had someone I talked with about 2 years ago, and he goes, my dad says I don't need this. And he had 5 kids at home and wife didn't work. I just said, your dad's wrong.
Sorry.
The old man's wrong.
I didn't. He didn't buy it. But I'm like, so you're going to go through life. You're making $180,000 a year and you won't spring for $32 a month for $1 million in insurance. Like, I just said, your dad's wrong. I'm sorry. He goes, well, he's never had it. I said, well, he's lucky.
Well, one thing Dan can do too, back to our good old bucket strategy, have enough in emergency funds, have some money in 3 to 5 year bucket, and have some money in retirement. And then that fourth payment, that debt payment, have some pillow payments here. Get rid of some of that debt that you don't want hanging over, and then fill up the buckets with the rest of the money.
And I'm doing the math here. Unless they're driving really fancy cars, knocking out the vehicle shouldn't be that much. I mean, they're making $145,000. I doubt they're driving $100,000 cars.
Oh, and
they probably didn't buy a $250,000 RV. It's probably a camper. It's $50,000. It might take $100,000 to clean up all this.
Yeah.
Except for the mortgage.
He's not going to need 2 cars necessarily, because they're not a 2-car family.
You got one to sell.
Anymore. Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the first thing. If you have an extra car, sell it.
Yeah. Yep.
He definitely doesn't have to move. I mean, with that lump sum,
no,
his deceased wife did a great job. He does not have to move.
If he had to move, they were doing something wrong. They were keeping up with the Joneses.
Right.
Before something happened to her. It doesn't sound like the situation.
Yeah, this is, again, one of those tough ones. And I'm going to say, again, this is not a show about life insurance. This is not something that we talk about a lot, but that's part of the financial plan, and that's part of what a professional can help you with, is make sure you do in a just heartbreaking situation like this, Dan, best to you and your daughter, have a thoughtful, a reasonable, and an educated strategy to take that money. Like Roger said, take your time, but then work the financial plan. And if you don't have one, then get in touch with my friends at Premier Investments and Wealth Management. They will help you navigate this with compassion, with care, and very straightforward advice. Like, life insurance is a good thing. PremierIWM.com is where you can make your appointment. Also by calling 800-383-6590 to get in touch with Premier Investments and Wealth Management, named to Forbes 2025 Best In-State Wealth Management Teams. For Roger, for Jonas, I'm Doug. We'll talk to you next time.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in the show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Premier Investments in Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide specific individualized tax or legal advice. We suggest that you discuss your specific situation with a qualified tax or legal advisor. Rebalancing a portfolio may cause investors to incur tax liabilities and/or transaction costs, and does not assure a profit or protect against loss. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal. There is no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. Contributions to a traditional IRA may be tax deductible in the contribution year, with current income tax due at withdrawal. Withdrawals prior to age 59.5 may result in a 10% IRS penalty tax in addition to current income tax. Consult your tax professional about eligibility to Roth and traditional IRA contributions. Contributions and earnings in a Roth IRA can be withdrawn without paying taxes and penalties if the account owner is at least 59.5 and has held their Roth IRA for at least 5 years. Traditional IRA account owners have considerations to make before performing a Roth IRA conversion. These primarily include income tax consequences on the converted amount in the year of conversion, withdrawal limitations from a Roth IRA, and income limitations for future contributions to a Roth IRA. In addition, if you are required to take a required minimum distribution, RMD, in the year you convert, you must do so before converting to a Roth IRA. This recording contains only general descriptions and is not a solicitation to sell any insurance product or security, nor is it intended as any financial or tax advice. For information about specific insurance needs or situations, contact your financial professional. This recording is intended to assist in educating you about insurance generally and not to provide personal service. They may not take into account your personal characteristics, such as budget, assets, risk tolerance, family situation, or activities which may affect the type of insurance that will be right for you. In addition, state insurance laws and insurance underwriting rules may affect available coverage and its costs. Guarantees are based on the claims-paying ability of the issuing company. If you need more information or would like personal advice, you should consult an insurance professional. Forbes' Best in State Wealth Management Team's ranking was developed by Shook Research and is based on in-person, virtual, and telephone due diligence meetings, and a ranking algorithm that includes a measure of each team's best practices, client retention, industry experience, review of compliance records, firm nominations, and quantitative criteria, including assets under management and revenue generated for their firm. Investment performance is not a criterion because client objectives and risk tolerances vary, and advisors rarely have audited performance reports. Shook's research and rankings provide opinions intended to help investors choose the right financial advisor and team, and are not indicative of future performance or representative of any one client's experience. Past performance is not an indication of future results. Neither Forbes nor Shook Research receive compensation in exchange for placement on the ranking. For more information, please see www.shookresearch.com. Shook is a registered trademark of Shook Research, LLC.